Morning, everybody. Today is December 1st at 11:23, and today we're going to be going over an update on the stage analysis, what is going on with Bitcoin, talking about some on-chain metrics, as well as this sailor potentially selling his Bitcoin and how that can impact the charts and what that looks like. So just jumping in right into it. Right now we are still in our stage 4 decline. So we had our distribution area, stage 3, and now we are in the stage 4 decline. Updated the checklist just to make it a little bit more clear, and also starting to categorize some early decline, confirmed decline, and mature decline just to make it as clear as mud. So let's walk through where we're at. So over the weekend, we had this, what some people were calling a relief rally. So we had our some very high volume capitulation, and we had this tightening right here. It broke the trend line, and potentially we were going to be, starting this uptrend. People were starting to look a little bit optimistic that this could be the bottom. But as you can see, we had some relatively low volume come in and tried to push up, came up to that 90K major support, and it squatted on there. But you can see the 20-day, it acted as this perfect resistance. So the 20-day acted as resistance. Now, why this is significant of a 20-day EMA acting as resistance is because the 20-day EMA is your sign of support in a strong stage 2 uptrend. You can see over here, the 20-day, that blue line, an even shorter time frame. This is the 10, this thin red line, the 10 EMA. But you can see the 10 EMA acting as support as well as, well above the 20-day. But the 20-day is the short term. Again, 20-day blue line is short term. This is the medium term. This is the long term. And as we can see, when the trend is strong, it will follow this 20-day all the way up. And then when the trend is weak, it'll follow the 20-day all the way down, acting as resistance. So this was not a good sign for Bitcoin, because what we would want to see is that it would get tight, consolidate, and then shoot back up. And then the next area that we'd be looking at would be this area of support, this 100K, as well as the 50-day. And if we could break above that, then things would look more hopeful until we cross over the 200-day and continue the trend. But the immediate short term, as we can see, the short term, the blue line, we have now hit as resistance, and we are shooting all the way down. This could be potentially because of some of the talk about MicroStrategy selling their Bitcoin if they need to. They said that if the MNAV drops below 1 as a last resort, they will sell. Well, we can see right here their MNAV is 1.1, so not looking pretty. And their cost basis for strategy is around 74K. So right now with Bitcoin at 84K, 74K, we're getting right to this other major support. This is an area that we've identified as being a major support. You can see that it has multiple touches here. If it broke through that major support, because let's say strategy starts selling and they're just trying to get rid of their bags, that would not look strong for Bitcoin, and we could see it drop down to even the 50 range. We could see that there's a gap here, this gap area between 75 and 70. But then below that, this is the area where price has been sitting for quite a while. So we could see price get back into this range if there is a much larger decline, and that would also technically line up with our stage analysis. So if we go from the top down, 50 to 80%, we would be looking at that 50K starting at that 50% down range. And then if we were to go even lower than that to the 80%, that would be quite significant. But you'd be looking at 25K. Do I think that we're going to be getting down to 25K? Probably not. I mean, that would be pretty wild. But who knows? Crypto is a pretty wild thing. So like Saylor says, volatility is its greatest strength. It's its superpower. But that 50K range, You know, 50% down. We're looking at 60s, mid 60s, go a bit lower. Now we're in the 40s, and you know, that could be a very, you know, that looks like that stage 4 decline action. So yeah, short term not looking good. Market decline. Stock is you know, we've checked off all the early stage 4 decline signs. We've checked off all the stage 4 confirmed decline signs. We are in a stage 4 decline for Bitcoin. And now we're just looking for that 4B. Could we potentially see, you know, similar to what happened over in the February, April with all of the tariff war and Middle East, you know, Middle East war, this type of, you know, V-shaped recovery back up? We could, but like we said before, the volume is definitely different than on this decline, where we could see that the volume was drying up on the way down. We could see volume picking up on the way down. So we'd want to see some more bottoming, and it also was not that extended from the 200-day, the long-term moving average, and it just kind of did this little recovery distribution. So, but this is not looking good. When price starts reacting around this 200-day like that is not a good sign. We had a very short-term uptrend, and now distribution, and now downtrend. So how long is this downtrend? We don't know. Let's look at some of the market. So we have all of our coins here. The top 150, they are 18% above the 200-day moving average. So that is not healthy. Not healthy. Looking at other types of participation, relative strength participation, we could see that 44 coins going all the way from 50 million all the way up. Only 44 have some decent relative strength. Fear and greed, we're at 20. So, you know, a little bit of a rally up. Other types of participation, we could see the top 100. Nothing really. That's awful. Looking at the top 500, looking a little bit better for some of the top ones, but the rest not looking good. And then if we look at greatest losers, not that great. Some on-chain, we could see that spot volume has taken a sharp decline recently. So the bottom fishers doesn't seem like they are stepping in at this time. Spot is taking a cool, pulling back. ETF outflows, we could see that ETF outflows November 23rd. So the previous week it was pretty great outflow, and right now we starting November 28th, looks like it is trying to figure out what it wants to do. A little indecisive for the spots, the ETF. Aggregate volume, this is total aggregate volume, all the futures, on-chain, options, revived supply, everything. Spot, we could see that on-chain has definitely taken a big dip. ETFs also dipping. So everything is in a decline. What's particularly interesting is the futures. Futures has declined quite significantly. So we could see a very sharp decline on futures. People are probably getting burned. Revived supply, we can see revived supply taking an uptick. That is interesting to see. We have that, looks like that 3 to 5 year. There's a significant uptick in that 3 to 5 year coming in. Why would they be coming in? Well, 3 to 5 year comes in to sell. So they are probably, these are the people that are probably thinking that there's an end to the 4-year cycle and it's only going down from here. So people that have been holding, you know, that bought back in 3 to 5 years ago, 3 to 5 years ago when Bitcoin was much earlier in its stage 2 uptrend. 3 to 5 years ago. I mean, we're looking at, you know, they were probably buying the FTX bottom over here, and now they're coming in and saying, you know, this might be the top. And to me, that's what it seems like. They are selling because they think that this might be over now. Is my interpretation of this on-chain data. You can also see the short term also increasing, the 1 to 2 year. 1 to 2 year increase. Really everything increased. The only thing that has not increased is that 10 year to 7 year because they already came in. they came in, they came out. They got in, they sold, and there wasn't enough to be able to buy it. So realized profit loss, we could see a very sharp increase, very sharp spike in losses. Losses are increasing. We could see that there's a bit of a decline right now. Losses have kind of cooled down, but spot has also cooled down, and futures. So key cost basis. You can see over here what's kind of interesting is we had this nice bounce off of the true mean. So this is some of the true mean. This is something that James Check from Check on Chain formulated, which is some crazy math numbers, all the Bitcoin that is non-Satoshi's Bitcoin, stuff like something like that. And he aggregated this what he calls a true mean, and he uses this as a one of his moving averages, I guess. But I thought that was kind of interesting that it kind of bounced off there. But I just I'm not an expert on the price model like true mean, MVRV, stuff like that. It's something that I'm still learning and trying to understand, but it's not how we trade. It's just interesting to analyze. Bitcoin futures open interest. You see open interest on the decline. So that makes sense because futures is also declining. Liquidation heat map. See if there's any particular areas. If we shot back up to this 90K range, we could have a short type squeeze, and we could see a nice rally up towards that 100K. If we got above that, there'd be another area to be able to push through. But right now, this 80 to 70K, this to me there's not a lot of activity down in this range. So how if we are going to keep falling, this is really just fear, less about shorts getting liquidated, or longs getting liquidated. I'm sorry. Liquidation volume. We could see we had was this the October 10, I believe. But if we zoom in over here, liquidation volume November 20. So liquidations have had a long liquidations have today because we had this recent dip, this recent rejection from the 20-day. Liquidations on the long side have shot up. The futures funding rate. We can see that the futures funding rate pulled back, but it is back on the rise. And like I was saying, Saylor said that Strategy will sell its Bitcoin on the condition that its MNAV drops below 1. That could be some of the panic in the market. Saylor's cost basis, like I said, is around 75K. Their MNAV currently is 1.1. So not good news for a stage 4 decline. That is not good. So a little bit of an update for today. We'll continue to see what happens, but not looking pretty. So yep, that's about it.